You've just found out that you're pregnant, and now what? Fear in pregnancy to some degree is normal, as is some anxiety. We're going to talk about the truth around the first 12 weeks. Because if you've just found out you're pregnant and you're somewhere between the excitement and the quiet terror of not knowing what on earth to do next, then this episode is for you. Pregnancy and new parenthood change relationships in ways that can catch us completely off guard. Because right now, you might be Googling things at 2 a.m, you might be avoiding exercise because you're frightened something will go wrong. You might be eating crackers and surviving on ginger tea, wondering if you're supposed to be doing more, whether you should already have a plan. And the system is probably not helping. You won't see a midwife until right at the end of your first trimester. You might not see a GP at all. And you've been told to take folic acid and avoid soft cheese, and that's more or less it. So you're doing what every pregnant woman does. You're cobbling together information from Google, from forums, maybe from your mum or a friend who have had a different kind of pregnancy. And you're trying to build something that feels like a plan out of things that often contradict each other and don't feel reliable. And I know this because I'm a midwife. I've been doing this for years. And the women that I speak to every single week, no matter how prepared they are, no matter how wanted this pregnancy is, almost all of them describe the first trimester to me in the exact same way. Lost, unsupported, and quietly frightened. And I want to change that starting today. I'm Pip. I'm a midwifery sister, a pelvic health specialist, and I've spent years supporting women through pregnancy, birth, and postnatal recovery. I wrote a book on birth preparation that was published by Penguin, and I host this Midwife Pip podcast, which reaches women all over the world. And I run a program called Your Pregnancy Journey, where my team and I work with a small number of families from early pregnancy right through to postnatal recovery. But more than any of that, I spend time every week in conversations with pregnant women, real conversations about what they're afraid of, what they don't understand, and what nobody told them. And those conversations have taught me something that I want to share with you today. And that is that the first trimester is not a waiting room. It's the most powerful window of your entire pregnancy. And the vast majority of women honestly just have no idea. Here's what I want you to know. By the time you reach 12 weeks, your baby is actually fully formed. Every organ, every limb, the heart, lungs, nervous system, all of it. The rest of pregnancy is actually just growth. The architecture of your baby and your pregnancy is built right now in those early weeks, often before most women have even told anybody that they're actually pregnant. This means that, yes, nutrition choices that you make now matter. The stress levels that you're carrying right now matter. The foundations that you lay for your pelvic floor health right now, before the weight of a growing baby changes everything, matter enormously. But we just don't talk about it because there's this kind of cultural narrative around the first trimester that says survive until 12 weeks and then you can start preparing. Wait until you look pregnant. Wait until your appointments begin. Wait until there's something definite to plan for. And by the time those families come to me at 20, 24, 30 weeks, they'll often say the same thing. Pip, I wish I had started sooner. I wish I knew about this in trimester 1. So what should you actually be doing in those early weeks? Let me give you 4 key things, the 4 pillars. First of all, your physical foundations. Now, to be clear, this isn't about really intense exercise. This is about protecting your body for what's ahead. It's about you understanding your body. Your pelvic floor is at its strongest right now, before the weight begins, before your whole physiology starts to really shift. Starting to think about that and to move in ways that, yes, are safe, but are also appropriate and specific to the demands of this journey right now. To understand what your body's actually doing sets you up for a completely different postnatal recovery. And I know that sounds like a goal that's miles off, but honestly, the foundations for a smooth postnatal recovery are built now, right here in the first trimester. And the women who do this work early look back as one of the most valuable things that they did on the entire journey. The second thing I want to talk about is your mental and emotional landscape. Now, fear in pregnancy to some degree is normal, as is some anxiety. But what's not inevitable is that it completely controls you, that it's constantly there kind of on your shoulder. Women who go into birth feeling informed, feeling prepared, and having calm confidence have fundamentally very different experiences to those who arrive feeling overwhelmed or frightened. And the emotional preparation begins now. It's not at 36 weeks, and it doesn't happen in a quick antenatal class or course in the final trimester. It's also really important to recognize that good emotional and mental well-being also doesn't come from avoiding things that may induce fear or anxiety. It comes from learning to understand those things, lifting the lid on them and unpicking them in a safe environment. Because the women who tell me they're just going to hope for the best or think positively, often they're the women that actually we've never addressed those underlying fear or anxiety. We've just suppressed them or boxed them off. And actually, that leaves you wide open and vulnerable to trauma or negative experiences later on in pregnancy and birth. Third, and critically important, is your knowledge base. There are many decisions ahead of you in this pregnancy, really important decisions that will feel enormous, but they will feel less enormous if you understand what they actually involved. Understanding your options through pregnancy, your options around birth, around intervention, around feeding, around postnatal care. None of this means that you're overthinking or getting ahead of yourself. It means you're arriving at those milestones with confidence, with clarity, in an informed, empowered place, rather than with panic and then risking regret. And fourth is your relational support. Now, this includes your partner if you have one, but it also includes whoever is in your corner, whoever is in your court on this journey. Pregnancy and new parenthood change relationships in ways that can catch us completely off guard. And in my experience, it's the families who talk about this stuff early, who get on the same page before the chaos hits and the challenges come their way. They really do navigate it very differently to those who don't. And those conversations can feel obvious, but actually communicating effectively can be an enormous challenge. So we want to start that process and concrete those foundations in this critical first trimester. Now, these aren't things that get easier to build later in pregnancy. In truth, they actually get harder. The first trimester is that window. Now, I spoke recently with a woman, and I think this is a really important thing to share. She was in her first pregnancy. She was 7 weeks pregnant and sitting in that strange place between joy and gratitude, but also total overwhelm. She told me that she had stopped exercising because she was scared of miscarriage. She'd stopped telling people, but she'd also really stopped telling herself that she was allowed to need anything. She was just getting through. By the time we finished talking, she said something that has honestly really stayed with me. She said that she didn't realize that she was actually allowed to prepare. She thought she just had to wait and hope in the first trimester. And as a midwife and a mum, that breaks my heart a little bit, well, quite a big bit, because every time I hear something like it outlines how disempowering we are making this experience for families without them even knowing. The first trimester is a time where you can absolutely proactively influence your journey. It's a time to start taking the reins. It's a time to have control and empowerment, not a time to sit passively through. Because look, Let's say you are sitting in some of that anxiety, waiting for that 12-week scan, concerns about miscarriage. If you know you have truly done everything to optimize that time, that can put your mindset in a really different place should you have a poor outcome. But let's also be real with ourselves. We're going to have a degree of anxiety, regardless of whether we prepare and we set those solid, empowering foundations or not. So why not arrive at the 12-week mark having done that work, rather than just sat there in the anxiety, hoping for the best and just trying to get through each and every day? Pregnancy really is not something that you just wait through, particularly not this first trimester. It's something you move through, and how you move through it changes absolutely everything about how you come out of it the other side. And I also want to just explain to you what it looks like when a family gets the right support from the very beginning of pregnancy. When they have access to a team, not just one single practitioner. A midwife is clearly very important, but so is physiotherapy around the musculoskeletal side, but also pelvic health specialism, psychotherapy. It is an enormous psychological journey, pregnancy, birth, postpartum. An exercise coach who hasn't just ticked a box with a quick qualification, but who really understands the specific demands on a pregnant body and how truly specialist this time is. A lactation consultant to guide you on your feeding choices and make sure you get off to the best start. A sleep consultant, and people who know pregnancy inside and out and who are available through messaging, not just a pre-booked appointment every few weeks with time constraints and agendas. They're not Googling at 2 a.m. or hoping for the best, these families. They're sending a message and getting a considered, tailored, individualized, evidence-based response from someone who knows them and their pregnancy. They're not a number in a system or a box to tick. They go into birth informed and they come out of it, however it went, feeling like they were empowered, prepared, and supported the whole way through. And that is what it should look like. And if it doesn't look like that for you yet, that is not a reflection on you. It's a gap in the system, one that I literally dedicate my whole life to trying to close, because look, the stakes are really high at this time in our life. We get one shot, and in my eyes, we truly deserve to look back at that from a place of empowerment and pride. And it truly can be a life transforming experience. We don't ever forget how it felt to carry our babies and to bring our babies into the world. And in truth, everybody benefits from you having a good pregnancy experience. And if this episode has landed with you, if it's made you feel like maybe there's more available to you in this season than you thought, I would love to hear from you. Come and find me on Instagram. I'm at midwife_pip. Or you can reach me by email. The link is just in the show notes. Just tell me whereabouts you are in your pregnancy. Tell me what you're navigating. I read absolutely everything that comes into my inboxes. And if you know someone in their first trimester, someone who's currently sitting in that now what feeling right now, make sure you share this episode with them, because it might just be the episode that they needed to hear today to change everything. And remember, subscribe to the podcast so that you do not miss out on more important conversations coming up. Take care of yourself, and I'll speak to you soon.